Thanks for joining us on the CBN News Channel. I'm Charlene Israel.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. Is the radicalization of Muslims living in the U.S. the biggest terror threat to America? New York Republican Peter King thinks so. He's holding congressional hearings on the topic this week. His challenge? Focus on the threat of homegrown terrorism without attacking peaceful followers of Islam. Heather Sells has more now from our newsroom.
There is a growing consensus among both parties and the nation's top security leaders that radicalized Muslims are a huge threat to the U.S. Even Homeland Security Chief Janet Napolitano had this to say about recent terror plots.
An increasing amount of hometown or homegrown terrorist activity, particularly by individuals who have become radicalized and associated with Al-Qaeda or Islamist terrorism beliefs and techniques and tactics.
Congressman Peter King, a Republican from New York, heads the House Homeland Security Committee. On Thursday, he'll hold a hearing to look at radicalization and how the Muslim community can help law enforcement combat it.
Right now, there is an effort, and this isn't just me saying this. Eric Holder said he stays awake at night worrying about the numbers of young Muslim men who are being radicalized.
But protesters over the weekend charged the congressman with using divisive rhetoric and said he's trying to vilify Muslims as a whole.
Peter King, we are on to your game. Dividing people and using fear and intolerance and targeting an entire community does not make any of us safer.
Even Congressman Keith Ellison, a Muslim, is defending the hearing, but both he and the White House have urged King to take caution.
It's absolutely the right thing to do for the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee to investigate radicalization. But to say we're going to investigate a religious minority, in a particular one, I think is the wrong course of action to take.
What both sides can agree on and what the hearing will focus on is how Muslims can help law enforcement to combat radicalization, just as they have already in a number of cases. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Thanks, Heather. Fighting between rebel and government forces raged across Libya over the weekend. Rebel forces advancing towards Tripoli were met by heavy resistance from ground forces and air attacks. Rebel and government forces are battling for control of several cities, both west and east of the capital. Rebels say Libyan troops fired on civilian areas in the town of Bin Jawad, creating a massacre. Meanwhile, in Tripoli, pro-Gaddafi demonstrators took to the streets, professing their loyalty to the dictator. The U.S. has moved military forces closer to Libya's shore, but is not pushing for a no-fly zone.
The instability in the Middle East could become a major issue in the 2012 race for the White House. And as John Jessup reports, that's especially true if the unrest spreads to other countries considered key allies.
When it comes to presidential elections, foreign policy rarely tops the list of voter priorities. But this upcoming election may be different. Imagine, if you will, paying not just $4 or $5 per gallon of gas, but $10 or even $20. Right now, Saudi Arabia has increased its oil production to compensate for the lack of production in Libya. But if instability develops there the same way it has in other places and the Saudis go offline, you could see that nightmare scenario become a reality. Then it becomes a major pocketbook issue for Americans. And that means the candidates running for the White House must not only talk about foreign policy, it will also refocus attention on energy policy, looking at the development of alternative and renewable energy, building new nuclear power plants, and whether to speed up the process for offshore drilling and oil exploration. As it relates to global leadership, you'll hear some Republicans attack President Obama for seemingly staying on the sidelines as compared to former President Ronald Reagan, who challenged the Soviet Union to tear down the Berlin Wall. Plus, former UN Ambassador John Bolton is considering a run in the Republican primary. He is a big Obama critic when it comes to foreign policy, and he's hoping that his candidacy will force others who are running to address foreign issues. John Jessup, CBN News, reporting in Washington.
It's starting to look a lot like campaign season in Iowa. The Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition's spring kickoff is tonight. The event will feature 5 possible Republican presidential candidates, including Tim Pawlenty, Newt Gingrich, Herman Cain, and others. The speakers will take the stage at a church outside of Des Moines for a discussion of the issues. This forum is an important first step for candidates trying to win over conservative Christian voters, which make up a big percentage of caucus goers in Iowa. Our chief political correspondent, David Brody, is there, and we'll have more from him in the coming days, including one-on-one interviews with the possible contenders.
Rising gas prices show no signs of slowing down. The average price of regular gasoline has now jumped 33 cents per gallon in the last 2 weeks. The Lundberg survey reports that is the second biggest price increase ever recorded over a 2-week span. Gas prices averaged $3.51 per gallon nationwide. Unrest in the Middle East is fueling those higher prices. Since the turmoil in Libya, the price of crude oil has jumped 20%, and many are feeling the pain.
See, I'm just rounding up like $16 only. I cannot afford to fill up the tank.
Up until this point, about $50 about every 2 weeks, and now it's gone up to $60 every 2 weeks, and now we're up to almost $75.
Ouch. Meanwhile, rising oil prices has the White House considering tapping into the 727 million barrels of U.S. strategic oil reserves.
When it comes to today's rising gas prices, the mainstream media is less likely to blame President Obama than they were to blame President Bush in 2008. There are also fewer stories being reported. An MRC Business and Media Institute study reveals ABC, CBS, and NBC aired more than 2.5 times more stories about rising gas prices in 2008 than they did in 2011. That's 63 stories to 24. And in 2008, network reporters mentioned the Bush administration in gas price reports 15 times more often than in 2011 under President Obama.
And joining us now via Skype is Julia Seymour of the Business and Media Institute. Julia, what are some examples of how the media blame President Bush, but they're not blaming President Obama when it comes to gas prices?
Well, what we found in the most recent coverage in February of 2011 was that Obama's name was only mentioned in one network story. That was an NBC Nightly News report from Tom Costello. And literally the only mention of Obama was a quote from the president saying that we'd be able to ride out the Libya situation. There was no criticism, no explanation, no challenge given to the president whatsoever, and no mention of Obama's many attempts to limit domestic oil production here in the U.S.
What did we see in terms of then President Bush being mentioned during the coverage in 2008?
In 2008, we saw stories where they were sort of mocking President Bush. He had been asked at a press conference, I believe, if he had heard about the predictions of gasoline going to $4 a gallon. He hadn't heard that yet, and the networks made a big deal of reporting this over and over, making him look very foolish.
President Obama has drastically restricted oil drilling in the U.S. Have the news media covered that angle in this latest spike in oil prices?
They're not talking about this at all in their gas price stories. They may be reporting it in other stories occasionally, but I know I haven't seen very much on this issue. And it belongs in gas price stories. So the amount of supply versus demand is directly related to the price. And at a time of Middle East unrest, we should be talking about domestic supply. And the fact that the administration is restricting it and they're not talking about it is just shameful.
Obama is now floating the idea of tapping into the strategic petroleum reserves to lower gas prices. Would that be considered a political move or a real national security issue?
Well, I'm sure some people are going to say it's political. I would say I'm not sure that solves the problem overall. What we should be doing in this country is, accessing our own oil so that we are less reliant on foreign sources, particularly in a time of foreign unrest.
What do you think needs to happen for the media coverage to change? Do people have to be more vocal about the pain we're feeling? I know in 2008 we heard a lot from people in terms of changing behavior and not being able to sustain it. How do we get the media to focus on what's happening?
Well, I certainly think that as consumer pain grows, they will have to focus more attention on it. So far, we're seeing much less coverage of rising gas prices than we saw in 2008, despite the fact that our economy is still very much in fragile condition. So I do think that it will grow as consumer resentment toward high gas prices or pain grows.
All right. Thank you. We're just about out of time. Thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you.
House Speaker John Boehner says he is launching a legal defense of the federal law against gay marriage. The Defense of Marriage Act defines marriage as a union between a man and a woman. President Obama has refused to defend the law against a legal challenge. Attorney General Eric Holder says the president made that choice because he does not think the law is constitutional. Legal critics say Obama is acting like a king, not the president, since he's ignoring his duty to defend all federal laws in court.
A deadly weekend tornado has left at least 1,500 Louisiana residents homeless. The twister ripped through southwestern Louisiana and killed a woman who was trying to shield her child. Her home was crushed by an oak tree. In the town of Rain, about 150 homes were damaged. Dangerous gas leaks and down power lines are a big concern for crews surveying the damage to the homes.
We've had a major storm that hit the city. It's the first time a tornado's hit here in a very long time, and it looks like it affected probably about a quarter-mile swath and about a 3-mile area.
The tornadoes and flooding were part of a massive storm system that struck 20 states from the Gulf of Mexico to the northeast. Today in New York, it is bracing for yet another massive winter storm, and some areas are still watching for possible flooding.
In Hawaii, scientists are warning there could be a hazardous eruption from the Kilauea volcano. A crater floor collapsed over the weekend, sending eruption 65 feet into the air. The volcano is one of the most active in the world.
Coming up, Israel's isolation, how some Americans are supporting Israel while its enemies are taking advantage of the Middle East turmoil.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
These are the greatest stories ever told. Presented by Academy Award winner Charlton Heston.
Thus saith the Lord of Israel, let my people go.
Join Charlton Heston as he travels the sacred lands of the Bible.
I'm going to take you with me on a journey exploring the stories in the Bible and the ancient land where they happened. This is said to be the very garden. This, the very rock where Jesus prayed for strength.
Now the Bible comes to life like never before. Time Life presents Charlton Heston's The Bible.
And Moses cast the tablets from his hands.
Praised by critics, this landmark TV series is now available on digitally remastered DVDs. You'll be inspired by the greatest stories from the Old and New Testaments, enhanced by historic works of art. Get Charlton Heston Presents the Bible on 4 DVDs for $49.99. Call with your credit card and save $10.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son.
And that's not all. You'll also get a free bonus DVD that takes you behind the scenes. And if you call in the next 10 minutes, we'll ship for free. That's an additional savings of nearly $7.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever and ever.
Call now to get Charlton Heston's The Bible on 5 DVDs for just $39.99. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll ship for free.
Now therefore go, and I will be with thee.
Call 1-800-748-5167 to order Charlton Heston Presents the Bible for $39.99 and receive free shipping when you call in the next 10 minutes with your credit card.
Muslims set fire to a church in southern Egypt after fighting between a Christian and Muslim family left 2 people dead. The dispute started over a romance between the children of the 2 families. Both fathers died in the fighting. Local Christians gathered in their church but had to be escorted to safety after a crowd of Muslims gathered outside. The mob then torched the church.
Fighting has broken out in an oil-rich region between northern Sudan and the south. South Sudan will become an independent nation in July. Protesters at Sudan's embassy in Washington charged that northern troops attacked civilians in the region.
The Sudan Armed Forces, together with the Masria militias, attacked brutally the town of Abyei and the surrounding villages. As a result, 300 died, mainly children and women.
The protesters claim Abyei wants to join South Sudan, but the North won't let it go.
The turmoil in the Arab world is putting Israel on edge. It is increasingly surrounded by those hostile to its very existence. Mark Martin shows us one group that is showing its support for the Jewish state.
Egypt's recent revolt could lead to a surrounding of Israel by hostile forces. Hamas in Gaza and Egypt to the south, Hezbollah and 60,000 missiles in the north, and Syria with its chemical weapons to the east. And further east, Iran, whose government wants to wipe out the Jewish state.
We as Jews have never felt more isolated nor more threatened by the world abroad since perhaps the founding of the State of Israel in 1948.
In the middle of the hostility against the Jewish people, the largest pro-Israel organization in the United States, Christians United for Israel, is holding a number of gatherings called A Night to Honor Israel. The theme is based on Isaiah 62:1, which says, "For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent."
I'm hoping that Jews and Christians will find their voice and that tonight's event will help that to happen.
For God will save Zion and rebuild the cities of Judah.
Hundreds of people attended A Night to Honor Israel in Virginia Beach, and voices rang out clearly in support of the Jewish state.
We will always stand with Israel. God bless all of you.
Including the one belonging to CBN founder and chairman, Dr. Pat Robertson.
There's so much hatred against the Jews, and I think if the Christians in this country can stand solidly with Israel, it'll make a huge amount of difference.
Why do politicians and diplomats, including diplomats in our own State Department, get more angry at news that an Israeli government is building apartments for its citizens in its capital than they do when they find out that the Holocaust denier Ahmadinejad is attempting to build nuclear weapons?
Keynote speaker and president of American Values, Gary Bauer, also did not mix words.
While an event like this one tonight is always a good thing to do, it seems particularly timely tonight when Israel is facing greater challenges and potential dangers in the Middle East.
Timely support in a world of unrest and turmoil.
The day of Christians worshiping a Jewish carpenter while we ignore the plight of our Jewish neighbors is over.
Mark Martin, CBN News, Virginia Beach.
Up next, is the Obama administration up for the challenge of managing the new changes in the Middle East?
What makes the miracles of Jesus even more miraculous? Standing where they happened, in Israel. Come explore Jerusalem, where Jesus opened blind eyes. Visit the hills of Galilee, where Jesus fed the multitude. Stroll through Capernaum, where Jesus lived and taught and healed. To learn more about standing where it all happened in Israel, visit www.goisrael.com. Come visit Israel.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Call our toll-free number or visit our website. A free idea kit and DVD will be sent to your home so you can discover all the benefits of owning your own pool. Compared to traditional pools, endless pools are simple to install, easy to maintain, and economical to run. Our precision-engineered pools enable you to swim or exercise against a smooth current that adjusts to any speed and ability. Endless pools are perfect for year-round health and fitness, relaxation, and family fun. Our free idea kit and DVD will show you how easy it is for the whole family to enjoy a pool right in your backyard or home. An endless pool or an endless pool swim spa can become a showplace for your home. Call our toll-free number or visit the website to find out more about endless pools. The free idea kit will show you just how easy it is to be able to swim at home.
What makes the miracles of Jesus even more miraculous? Standing where they happened, in Israel. Come sail the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus calmed a raging storm. Experience Jerusalem, where Jesus restored a paralyzed man. Explore Capernaum, where Jesus spoke a centurion servant into health. To learn more about standing where it all happened in Israel, visit goisrael.com. Come visit Israel.
One concern about the revolution shaking the Middle East is the possibility of Islamic fundamentalists coming to power. A recent article in the Washington Post suggests the Obama administration does not share that concern.
That's right. One official anonymously said the White House is not afraid of Islam's political influence. CBN's George Thomas and John Wagi recently discussed the implications of that outlook.
And senior editor John Wagi, who knows everything about politics and the Middle East, joins me for more analysis on this Washington Post article. And this is what it says. The headline: Obama administration prepares for possibility of a new post-revolt Islamist regimes. When you saw this headline, what came to you?
Well, disappointed, not surprised. This is a kind of willful overlooking of the situation that it seems like most people would recognize exists in the region, and that is these revolutions don't have that much chance of becoming democratic. They do have a great chance of Islamist groups ascending in a place where there's a power vacuum or a struggle for power, and that's going to be difficult for the world, and it's not going to be good for United States interests, and it's certainly not going to be good for for Israeli interests.
There was one line in here that just absolutely shocked me. It says, this is from a senior administration official who spoke on the condition of anonymity. He said, quote, "We shouldn't be afraid of Islam in the politics of these countries." Is that a crazy statement to say?
Well, you might get one inkling of it by the fact that he refused to identify himself. He had to be anonymous. That's pretty outlandish, yes. When you look at the strength of the regimes, the reality of Sharia law and its conflict with Western values, this is not a hidden thing. They don't speak on condition of anonymity when they're in a Muslim mosque preaching the sermon. You know, they say it as it is, and Islamic law, Sharia law, is in conflict with Western law, Judeo-Christian based, and you know, and to say that we're only going to pay attention to the politics anymore, that faith plays no part in it, I mean, yeah, I'd say that's pretty outlandish.
You know, what's interesting, when the Obama administration came into power, he basically said, look, I want to start a new beginning with the Islamic world. And he said this idea of Islamic ideology can be compatible with democratic values, that in this new approach to the Muslim world, this idea of Islam and democracy coexisting, it is compatible. Agree or disagree?
Well, I disagree, but there is a test, and that's the government of Iraq. And it was imposed, the government was basically imposed by the ouster of the Shah and millions, billions of dollars of American treasure and American lives. It was opposed in a similar way that there was a government imposed on Japan after World War II and Germany after World War II. The proof is in the pudding. We'll see a few years down the road if it's compatible, if Islamic law is compatible with democracy. But we certainly don't have it, to my way of thinking, in any other country. You know, there was a secular regime in Turkey that secularized that nation, but the Islamists are back in charge there, and we'll see over time what happens with that as well.
And on this issue of Islamic law today, we can look at countries like Iraq and Afghanistan, two countries that the United States has been heavily involved in, not just in the lives of American men and women, but billions of dollars. Today in Iraq and Afghanistan, you have, in essence, constitutions that enshrine Sharia law. So this is Iraq and Afghanistan, in essence, the blueprint for what could potentially happen all across the Middle East with these regimes that are revolting.
Yes, it could become the blueprint. Of course it could, and especially in a country like Egypt, which is fundamentally religious. I mean, the people want to see Sharia law instituted, and if that's what the people want, it's not going to be the same kind of revolution on the street thing that led to, you know, the American Constitution.
You have a clear example of the face of radical Islam, and specifically Islamic Sharia law, if that was to take place all across the Middle East. Read this.
This is from the this was from the note that was found next to the body of the only Christian member of the Pakistani cabinet, and he died this week, and it was Shahbaz Bhatti. It says, "This is the fitting end of the accursed one, which would serve as an example to others. And now, with the blessing and aid of Allah, the Mujahideen will send all of you, one by one, to hell, inshallah." This was the only Christian cabinet member in Pakistan, and there's no, you know, protection. That's the thing. There's not protection under Sharia law for this kind of against this kind of activity.
Okay, so. Terrific. I know you, as well as all of our folks in the news department, will be following this very closely in the days and weeks ahead. John Wagi, our senior international editor, thank you so much for your insights.
Thanks, George.
And we will be right back. Stay with us.
Millions of women worldwide love Bare Minerals.
This is smooth, it's nice, and it covers. I like that.
Only Bare Minerals looks like beautiful bare skin, while it covers whatever you want it to. And now you can get our latest kit with our totally new, totally spill-proof Click Lock Go Foundation. For over 75% off retail, our new kit comes with Bare Minerals Foundation in the shade that's just right for you. Warmth for a healthy glow. Mineral Veil, the ultimate finishing touch. And Bare Minerals Flawless Application Brush. Call now and get 3 full-size gifts worth $57.95 free. Purchased separately, you'd spend over $120. Our original Get Started kit was a great deal at 2 payments of $29.99. But now you can get all this for just 1 payment of $29.99. Save over $90 and get a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Call 1-800-376-4174. Ask how you can receive this handy compact. Call 1-800-376-4174 now.
It's impossible to close an open can with a pop top. Open cans spill in the fridge. What a mess. And open cans lose their fizz. What a waste. Introducing Bottle Top. It turns your can into a bottle with the snap of a cap. Open metal cans can't travel. What a waste. Bottle Top turns your can into a bottle that's perfectly portable. You can't do this with an open can. Bottle Top lets any soda keep its carbonation. Look, bugs are gross, but Bottle Top protects your drink from insects. When you're done drinking, just pop it off. Rinse under hot water and reuse. Bottle Top keeps drinks from spilling. Now get 6 colored Bottle Tops for just $10. Call now and get 6 more. Plus, we'll send you the Can Top Popper. Just pay separate shipping and handling. You get 12 amazing Bottle Tops, plus the Can Top Popper, all for just $10.
Call 1-800-377-9176. But hurry, call now. We're giving away a bonus 6 more Bottle Tops and the Can Top Popper with today's orders. That's 1-800-377-9176. Call now.
A 2002 Olympic gold medalist is awarded the gold again.
That's right, but instead of the pomp and circumstance on an Olympic podium, this time it happened at the local sheriff's office. Police presented Tristan Geisler with one of her most treasured possessions after over a month of worrying. It was her first place medal that she won in the women's skeleton at the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Games. 5 months ago, thieves broke into the Olympian's California home and stole it, along with several other of her big-ticket items. Geisler says the first thing she did was place the medal over the head of the lead detective in her case.
I win! These guys all call me on a regular basis, and they're really nice to do so. Most Olympic medals, if they're lost or stolen, you don't have this kind of a happy ending.
Now, Geisler says there was a chip in her medal. She believes the thieves probably tested it to see if it was truly solid gold. Wow.
Glad to see it back
I'm
in her
glad to see
hands.
it's back, but to steal the woman's medal.
I tell you.
Wow.
That is going to do it for this hour of the CBN News Channel. You can find more of today's top headlines along with our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
You can also stay up to date with CBN News through Facebook and Twitter. We hope you'll join us next time. Have a terrific day, everybody. God bless.
Fresh, wholesome juice. There's nothing like it. But until now, you had to stress and strain and make a huge mess to get just a little bit of juice. But not anymore, thanks to the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer. You can drop in whole vegetables, whole fruits, apples, oranges, celery, cucumbers with no chopping, no slicing, no struggling. And thanks to the Power Juicer's revolutionary patented extraction technology, you can get up to 30% more juice than those other juicers. Doctors recommend we get 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. With the Power Juicer, you'll be drinking your recommended daily allowance in just seconds. And the pulp from the extra large pulp catcher can be used to make pasta sauces, healthy desserts, and much more. The Power Juicer is dishwasher safe, so cleanup's a breeze, and the powerful motor is guaranteed for life. Order the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer now for just 2 easy payments of $49.90. And as part of this special TV offer, we'll also send you this amazing recipe guide filled with over 60 of Jack's favorite recipes. Try the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer in your home risk-free for 30 days. If you're not completely satisfied, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price, no questions asked. Call now.
I always wore a mask. I would never let anyone see what I really felt inside. My whole life, all I wanted to hear was that I love you and I want you. I just realized all of the horrible things that I've done in the past to feel loved and accepted. They were fleeting. It didn't matter. The relationship that I wanted my whole life was right there for me. And it was Jesus.